Because I'm tired. And apparently, I have my the go live together feature turned on. So I guess that means I can't do this landscape. I have to do a portrait. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sleepy. I am exhausted. I am so tired. You can't tell. I'm suffering. I'm kidding. So it's the full moon in Aquarius. I have the Tarot of the Abyss right here because it's the only deck that I could care to grab. Um, it's an interesting time in my life. I was just uh, sending my journey buddy a message. Also, there was a big, today is a day of beginnings, I guess, and endings, which are beginnings. Like today, I finished my first rotation on the shift that I got hired um, for now. And I get like, I'm on a schedule where I basically work a week and I'm off a week. It's 4 on, 4 off, 12 hours. Um, and I was like, I can do after working at the last place, I can do 12 hours because there were some 14-hour days there and I was not getting compensated for it. That's fine. Um, I'm excited. But in the past week or so, I've been noticing, maybe like a week and a half, I've been noticing changes that I didn't necessarily expect. And I've talked about them before, but maybe like the realization of it or the magnitude, not the magnitude of it, but the it's just been sinking in, hitting in a different way. Um, and I was talking, like I said, I was sending a message to my journey buddy, and I was like, so with this full moon in Aquarius, the sun is in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius. My Chiron is in Leo and my Saturn is in Aquarius. Um, so like just natal transit wise for me, then I was like, that kind of makes sense. Where it's like I can see like my life and the way that I live it and I navigate it and I go about it in so many ways and aspects is like you can see that Chiron has like been healed. You know what I mean? Um, and then with the moon being where my Saturn is, especially with me just finishing my first Saturn return, it's like you could see it there too. And it's wild that I don't want to say that I prioritize myself in these ways and I get my hair done tomorrow. Um, it's just like I guess, like I've said, I've been so open to like anything for so long or for long enough that I didn't yet have a particular set path or direction. Um, and so I was a lot more fluid. And now that I've found a direction that I like, that is one that is so deeply aligned to me. And I've also been like, I've had a realization. I know that before I applied for the company that I work at, I saw an article about them changing up some of their stuff. And I was like, oh, so it's aligned. But then I was like, even before then, like back to a few years ago, it was already evidenced to me that things were changing in a certain direction. And now that I am where I am, it's like, oh, you know, it makes sense. And like there's so many it's so excuse me, it's so aligned in so many ways, but I need to find out how to like become a little bit more involved with some of that stuff. I have a good idea of what I want to do and how I want to navigate it. I just got to try it and see if I need to find another whatever. But again, it's like I started the year wanting to, I was like, I really want to move this year. And it happened. And I could feel that, especially when the move was happening, I just like, I was like, I want to move. I'm going to be working. I know what my salary is going to be. So I know roughly the range I'm going to be looking at. I'm just going to look at places. Not with a super, I wasn't super intent on moving. That's why I didn't really tell anybody, or nothing really happened until it did, because I was just looking and then I found a place. Um, and that ended up working out because I was like, maybe not, for what I want, for what I need, and for all of, like, in totality, for everything that I'm trying to do, maybe not. But then it was like, well, let's make this a little bit better of a fit for you. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, but like now that I'm here and now that like I'm in my space, there's it's kind of like I want to like it's sacred to me. Um it's important to me and I'm not I don't want the vibes to be messed up. So there were like a few things that I wanted to like be able to do or start doing. There are some things that I thought I would start doing when I got my own place. Like dating and stuff being one of them, or like having friends over. But now I'm like, because I love my friends. Of course I do. Um, but I'm just like, what do I want to happen here? Like, you know what I mean? Because now I'm like, oof. Like, what if I like have friends over and then they want to be over here like all the time? And then my precious sanctuary will be lost. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I didn't necessarily expect this, but I love it. And I'm not willing to sacrifice it. Now, if there is something that adds, then of course, that's different. But I'm not willing to let this place become a place I need to seek sanctuary from. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was super interesting. Um, again, if it weren't for the pressure cooker of Saturn, if it weren't for like being forced to do things that I never would have allowed myself the opportunity to try to do, then I would have never like, oh, no problem. I would have never known that I'm capable of doing some of those things. And I would have never gotten to the point where I'd be comfortable doing them, to the point further that I would seek to like expand and adventure out more and do whatever. To keep going beyond. And like I said, it's like if I would have quit and if I would have gave up when I had the mind to and then came here, ooh, it would have been ugly. I feel like I feel like if I didn't begin doing all the things that I started doing after my darkest night in 2018, life would have been very, very different for me. Um, it would have been extremely dark. But fortunately, that's not my experience, so I don't have to worry about it too much. Oop. Let's see. I have these cards. I was just gonna like put them on the ground. Um, but yeah, so oof. All right, I'm just gonna spill these out. I guess I'm gonna turn them face down. And then I'll pick up the card. I'll just mix them all into the ground. And I'll do the one of these. And then when I want a card, I'll pick one. But yeah, it's just been, it's not disbelief, but excuse me, it's been interesting. I could go out on the balcony. Maybe I will. I need to get like a little chair or something to put out there. Or I could like turn off the air and just open the glass door. Anyway, let's see. Let's get a card for Patrick. This one right here. You. It's the Two of Pentacles. I picked it up in reverse. I can't even see this. Can I talk to Google? Hey Google, turn on sofa. No, I can't talk to Google. Let's see. I wonder if it'll let me do this. Am I still live? Wait, it just started me all over. I don't know. I don't know what that did. Like the timer started all over, but I don't think the video did. So anyway, I got picture in picture on this phone, so I can stay live and then still like. Let's see. This is yay! This is pretty cool. I am satisfied with my patches. There we go. Let's change this up a little. I just need it so that I can see the card. I kind of want to. There we go. And then I'll put that one back on the Fool's. And I'm like, every time I do that, it resets the timer, but I don't think it. Obviously, it's not creating separate videos. This Two of Pentacles. There's two yo-yos. This Two of Pentacles is interesting because it's not about juggling. Because of how the lines are drawn, it's like it's swinging back and forth like a pendulum. And it's, of course, it makes me think of the third, the fourth, the fifth. I don't remember hermetic principle. I wanted this to be landscape. But it's the one with the pendulum. See, that is the white overtone wizard. That's how everything's been built. Cause like I was talking to my journey buddy, and she was like, "I don't know if this is the North Node Aries or like what's going on." Or she was like, "I don't know if this is the North Node Aries or if it's just the fact that the nodal axis isn't Taurus Scorpio anymore." But it's like so much of, and I was thinking about this earlier too, how because the nodes go through the zodiac retrograde, I almost wonder if Aries is like the last sign, and if it like the nodal whatever actually starts in Pisces, because with everything that I've been reading on over here, it's like there is so much, it seems like emphasis on what we do and what is like what we have to do rather than like things that are just going to be done or things that are just going to happen. And so, in a lot of ways, it's definitely concluding and wrapping up a lot of things like
the nodal axis, like South Node Scorpio in particular, may have been extremely rough for people. Could have been very rough, but just the energy of South Node and Scorpio seems like it can bring up a lot of stuff. But if the next step is gonna be North Node Aries, then it's like there's so much that would have surfaced or come up to be handled, faced, addressed, healed while the South Node was in Scorpio. So that again, by the time the North Node shifts into Aries, there are things that can be done, things that can be done that a previous version of self wouldn't have been able to do, or that there's a clarity that one would have that would have them move forward in a different way, or it's like something would have changed so that when the emphasis is on action, a different path can be taken. If a different path is the one that, is whatever. But it's making me think of like the pendulum swinging is obviously again that white over. Is that the white overtone wizard? Maybe that's what that one is. Because it's like when the pendulum, it's like for as good as everything is gonna be, it's gonna swing and be like equally as bad or whatever. But the master or whatever, the enlightened one or whatever, is the one that like basically goes above the pendulum. So it's like you can follow the swing when it's going one way, and then you just sort of like hop off when it's swinging the other way. But it's that overtone energy. And it's like the optimistic alchemist. It's the one who, it's like there's a time to not get lost in the details, or there's a time to keep one's focus and mind on the bigger picture. I don't know what this looks like. I have remote. Where's my remote? Where's my remote? Let's see. I'm gonna see what this looks like real quick. Where did that card go? Oh, it's right here. It made me think of like a hypnotist that uses a pocket watch or something. How are you all? This is gonna be a rant. Not a rant, but this is just gonna be a Patrick talking probably video, so which is fine. It's a gorgeous space I've been in. This is so weird. Ooh, that's like what, 10 to 15 seconds behind. Ah! Wow. Nope, it's just telling me to rotate my device. I didn't even see it. So, like, what you see and what I see are different. Because on my screen, because I don't know why. If anybody wants to, wait, I think I can paste the link. Oh, snap, Holly, hey. It is, I feel like it ain't telling me nothing. It's not showing. Oh, live chat. There we go. Can I type? Will it let me type? Sorry. I wish I could. I would have to paste it on my computer. And I don't think it'll let me um, make a community post. I wish it would let me type. Do I got filters? Um, Unless that was when I had it minimized. 6:53. I don't know what time it is. Um, yeah, I was trying to see if I could paste the link. Wait, will you let me make a community post? A community post. Doesn't look like it will. Doesn't look like it will. Doesn't look like it will. That's fine. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. I can turn the air off. That's fine. Yeah, cause like I only see up to like here. This is how much I see. Like this much on my screen. So that's why I was like, I don't know what all you see. I see like the top half. So let's get one more. Let's clarify. Mix them, mix them, mix them, mix them, mix them. This one. Clarifying this Two of Pentacles is the Six of Cups in reverse. Is everything might just be in reverse. You can see from the show. Yeah, I have it on my TV, so I can see myself. That's why I was like, I don't know what I look like. I put it on the TV. This is interesting. The Six of Cups is a card that refers to the past more often than not. It carries a lot of like nostalgia and stuff like that. Now, again, because of the sun conjuncting basically my Chiron, while the moon is conjuncting my Saturn, this energy, like the energy of the past, is present, but it's been in a way of like how far removed from it I am. Because it is, it's kind of like, and like I've been on, as I'm browsing Instagram, they've been like, here's a suggested reel. And it puts it to this music that's very, like, engaging or whatever. Um, and hey, I can see the chat too on the TV. um, and so I was looking at my trip to Lynn's Farm, and then it popped up another one with. It was when I was in the UK. It was like when I was in York. Um, so it basically is going through my trip because the first day was Lynn's Farm in Holy Island, and then the second day we went to York. Um, and like with the music and seeing it, I'm like, wow, like I did like that's my life, and just all of the things that I'm doing now. Um, for a long time, I didn't like my life. The life that I'm living is already beyond what I would have allowed myself to even dare to dream because fear had controlled, ruled, dictated, made so many of my choices for so long. Like, especially pre Darkest Night. Because after my darkest night, I was like, anything, everything I got to do, face the dress or whatever, I'm going to do it because I'm not going to survive another encounter with that place. Um, and again, just like even since like post Darkest Night, because when I started doing a lot of my healing, or when I started looking at and facing the big stuff in my life, I noticed that there were other things. Like, I guess we've been well on this today. So I have an eye condition. I've talked about it before. That was a lot worse before I had cataract surgery. Because like I rapidly developed, like my peripheral vision has always been not the best, but like I rapidly developed cataracts space of like months. Like I literally ended one semester being able to see projector screens and whiteboards and started the next semester not being able to see anything. And so I spiraled hardcore because I was like, the thing that I've been avoiding it's coming to pass. Like it's becoming more and more unavoidable. It's affecting me in more and more areas of my life, and I can tell that there are things that I can't see that I used to be able to see. I can't avoid this anymore, and it destroyed me. Thankfully, though, before that, I had dabbled in resources, and so like I knew what tools to use when the time came for me to face it after my darkest night, when I was like anything and everything I got to do, because pretending like it's not happening isn't helping anymore. Pretending like everything is what it used to be or what it always was, like I'm being impacted and affected to a point where I can't pretend anymore. Um, and so, what was I talking about? Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, yeah. So that's what like I healed and I was like doing all of the eye stuff. I was like, because there were like assistive technologies and resources on campus and other things that I was like, I can use, but I don't want to use. Because if I use the resources, if I go into the computer and I change my settings, if I research, if I do anything to alleviate the symptoms that I'm experiencing because of this condition, it makes the condition real, regardless of the fact that my experience was my experience because the condition is real. Like my peripheral vision was already like non ideal. My night blindness was already like everything was already very much so real, but somehow in me doing things to face it and to try to make my situation a little bit at least easier, that made it more real or too real. Um, I had my point and then I lost it again. Oh yeah, yeah. So that was like one of the first things that I had to do. And then like growing up, there were so many things within myself that I wasn't handling facing it. Like I knew I would be toxic if I were in a relationship because again, like of everything that was unresolved. And I didn't want to like I didn't want to fall in love with someone and be a not great partner. You know what I mean? Because in Patrick's world, it's like if you love somebody, you don't treat them in a certain type of way. And I wanted to be able to treat the person that I love in a way that communicates and shows that love and that isn't tainted by a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm not doing. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, and like one of the other big things was like, I don't know how long I am for this world because there's a day that I don't want to live to see. Um, and it would be cruel of me to, develop a relationship in that way and then do something that would cause that person to like lose me. And so I was like, I'm just not gonna do it. But when I started like healing and facing and like getting better, like I still had relationship anxiety. And I'm like, oh, it's still, I remember like I was in my apartment starving, not working, not going to school, which is why I was like, if I didn't handle my darkest night the way that I handled it, I don't know what my life would have become because I was in like objectively the worst position that I had been in my life. My condition was the worst that it had ever been in my life. And I remember I would talk to friends and they would be like, "Oh, how's it going, Patrick?" And I'm like, "I am strangely not depressed right now. Like I've been much more depressed for much less, you know." Um, but after I was doing a lot of stuff and facing that, and like one of the things that I had to do very early was like to get comfortable with depending and relying on family more particularly, but like other people in general. Like I wanted to be able for the upper majority of my life, like I wanted to be able to cut anybody and everybody off and still be like self sufficient. Um, there was a plethora of reasons why I thought I might lose my family. Well, when I was really young, that was like the coming out. I didn't know how that would be taken. But besides that, like I didn't want to be a burden on loved ones. So I was like, I'd rather be just whatever. I don't want to. I don't want to be a burden on the people that I love and care about. So if I gotta cut people off in order to do, like, your boy was real. That's why I was like, I don't want to be. I didn't. I knew that I would be a toxic, garbled up mess in relationship because I was already a toxic, garbled up mess when it came to thinking about people that I care about. Um, it's like I didn't want to be a burden, and for a few other reasons. Like again, it was a lot of things that led me to wanting to just like isolate from people, which is not who I was as a kid. I was extremely extroverted when I was like real young. But life happens. Um, so one of the first things that I did was like, because I wasn't working or going to school, I had to get comfortable with like, relying on my family, and they were able to help me through, and I was able to just a tiny bit. Well, I try to pay it back when I can, but I was able to pay it a tiny bit back to my aunt because when she came to visit, the power was out, but we had power over here. I was giving her a hard time. I was just joking, but I don't think she knew I was joking. But anyway, she was able to, charge her phone and be in some air conditioned, whatever. Um, so yeah, that was one of the first things I had to do was like get used to like relying on people. And then as I was also healing that and dealing with that, and as I was softening up to like not isolating and like bringing people in and like being okay with that, then I was like, okay, so like family is done, friends is done. What's next? But relationship is that the love of my life, who I don't want to be a toxic mess for. And then I was like, oh, all of the stuff that I healed didn't heal this. What is this? And I remember I went home for a little bit. I think it was like the end of February or the beginning of March. And I was like, I talked to my mom. I was like, I think I got relationship anxiety. And she was like, you didn't know that? I was like, no. I didn't know that because I always had a reason as to why I didn't want to be in a relationship. Like it was my eyes, or it was like all of this mental stuff that I got going on. It was the fact that I didn't want to rely on anybody, or I didn't want to be attached to anyone, and I wanted to be able to cut everybody off if I had to for whatever reason. And so then I was like, oh, I want to heal that. Um, and that's when I started attracting. Well, I don't even know if it was attracting people into my life or like being more open. And that was an experience that created more things to heal. Honestly, you know. Um, but in that, I got to experience a side of me that was always there, but I got to experience a side of me that I never really allowed myself to like really engage in. And I didn't like, I wasn't worried. I mean, maybe like I didn't know how I would be. You know what I mean? Also, like, I can be such a particular person, or I can be like in such a need of like recharge time that, like, I could probably count on one hand the number of people that I could be around like 24/7, or the number of people that I could see every day and like not get tired of. Because sometimes it's like when I spend too much time with the same person, it's like everything they do starts to annoy me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, honestly, I haven't been like that. I haven't felt myself being like that probably since my darkest night. But also, I don't think I've spent too much time with anybody. Sort of like, you know what I mean? Besides when I was home, but when you're at home with your family, the people that you live with can always kind of get under your skin a little bit. But my best friend, like, because I think I stayed with her in her apartment for like a week, and I was like, oh, I was like, we could cohabitate. We could get an apartment together. Um, and then, yeah, anyway, there were a lot of things that I learned about myself. Um, but since I was like actively trying to heal that, while at the same time I was finishing my degree and I wanted to like really start living my life. After that, I had also been to London because I went to London for the first time like a few weeks after my darkest night, which was also very helpful because I felt like when I went to London, I was able to be at peace within myself. And like the quality of life that I experienced over there was not one that I was used to. Just like not quality of life, even just like I was just like taken aback. Like I never thought that I would like go overseas or even like I don't know. There was, I mean, if you could see Patrick's vision for his life, it was beyond bleak. I mean, past a certain point, it was non-existent for a while. Um, but because I feel like I was at peace within myself, I was able to enjoy it in a way. And there were a lot of things that I experienced when I was over there, and just like the experience itself, I was like, this doesn't have to be a once in a lifetime thing. Like, if I want this to be my life, I can make it so. Like, it's not impossible. It will require me to do some things. It ain't necessarily gonna just happen. But like, if I wanted this kind of life, I could have it. And again, that was just like a few weeks after my darkest night. So that was before because that was still in that first semester. So that was before I was not working and not in school and starving. Everything worked out. Obviously, I'm still here. Um, why did I bring that up? I don't remember. So yeah. Um, oh yeah. That's where I'm going. So um, like I said, it's just I was in that like I want to heal my relationship anxiety. I'm ready to like I was getting like more and more ready and more comfortable with the idea of like having a partner. And then even through like friendships and other things, I was experiencing like like I love giving. Giving is one of my love languages. I'm the type of person that's very much so like I saw this in a store, I thought of you, so I bought it for you. Number one. And then number two, I'm like, there's an experience that I want to have with you, so I'm gonna pay for it. Like you don't, I wouldn't, if I can afford it, especially, I wouldn't ask for someone else to come out of pocket for an experience that I want to have with them. You know what I mean? Or it's to eliminate that, like, oh, but I don't have. If I can, it's like, oh, well, here you go. Let's go. Let's do it. Um, So quality time is an iffy one for me because, like I already said, too much quality time, and I need some alone time. Um, but so yeah, like I said, I got to experience a lot of those parts of me that made me want to open up and explore more, just like so many other aspects of my life. Where it's like once I start to do something that I didn't think I'd be capable of, number one, or once I start to experience something that I purposefully denied myself for so long, then it's like, of course, I want to see how far this can go. Woo. And then I did the impossible. I got my degree. um, but I guess more so since then, like I didn't have a set place that I wanted to go or a set thing that I wanted to do. Like I knew generally like what would have been cool, but some of that stuff I didn't even necessarily want. I think, or I know that like biological, chemical engineer, or whatever engineer, it was a convenient answer for when people asked me what I wanted to do. So when I was looking at colleges, it was convenient to look at engineering programs. And while I was in college and getting my degree, of course, there were a few things that happened to get me to be more interested in like the medical pharmaceutical research and development on my own personal condition. Number one, a short story that I had read maybe my freshman or sophomore year. Was that biology? My like freshman or sophomore year biology class, number two, and just like being a person that cares about people, number three. I wanted to do something like a little more like medical pharmaceutical, like I said. Did not want to do petroleum, did not want to do oil. So like the switch from chemical engineering to biological engineering was really nice because I feel like I'd be a lot less likely to end up in that part of engineering and chemistry and biology rather than the more like people, food focused, whatever. Um, I keep losing my point, but it's fine. I'm exhausted. 1 second. I wish I could like swipe down. There we go. Can you still see me? Maybe. Is it paused? Hey, it's not paused. Let's go. I texted my mother. She ain't got back to me yet. So what was I saying? Where was I at? Yeah. So because I didn't know like what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go for a minute, thanks, Ali. I was just like open. And I was also like, because I've always been romantically inclined. You know what I mean? I didn't allow myself to really entertain the thought or idea of it too much. But I crush a lot. Like platonic crushes, all kinds of crushes. I'm just like I love people, you know. Especially cool people or especially like people who are authentically themselves, you know. That's very much so my vibe. Happy bubbly people. Love them. But anyway, so I feel like it wasn't self-abandoning because I didn't really want anything. I was just like, I'm open to go anywhere at this point. And I didn't have a specific goal in mind, so when it came time to decide what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go, I was like, I don't know. I had the one experience at that job. I got the job. I was like, oh my gosh. And then, it was a job related to my degree area. I was like, okay, cool. And then I was able to afford stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is awesome. And then I ate way too much of my food away. All of like, the upper majority of my salary went to my belly. Um, but then, I got to go see Kirsty. I've seen Kirsty twice. Crazy. Might be a third time. I'm sure there'll be at least a third time, if not like a third or fourth or fifth. And who knows how many? I'm still waiting to go see Clorinda. Um, I will make it outside of England. I promise. But until then, I love London. Um, but yeah, so lately I've been like, because I didn't know what I wanted or where I wanted to go for so long, because I didn't have like an answer or whatever. Look, there's the rest. Can you see Ganesha? Maybe. There may be some stuff on the table. Probably like a bag of red lobster. It's just the bag that the food came in because I haven't thrown it away yet. You never know when you'll need a paper bag of some size. But yeah, now that I found a job that I found a path that I really want to explore. So I'm a lot less likely to just like up and like go somewhere and be like, oh, I don't know. That's like I didn't know, at that point. So it's fine. And now, like, as much as I would love to experience relationship, I'm not willing to just. It's like my peace and the energy over here, the vibe over here, like everything that I've cultivated. It's like I'm not willing to just let anybody in. You know what I mean? Because it's like I don't know. It's just like I don't want. They're just things I'm not. I don't have the capacity to tolerate. From a friendship level, I would be, of course, much more whatever. But like when it comes to inviting someone into my physical space, and even my like mental emotional space, because it started with my mental emotional space before it became my physical space. Where it's just like, yeah, no, like I don't, it's like, yeah. Yeah, like I am open, but I'm open to the right things, if that makes sense. And before I was open to just like anything because I didn't know, because I hadn't had experiences, because I was seeking healing and I was seeking experience and I had a deep like trust and knowing and faith that nothing too crazy would happen or any like only what was meant to happen would happen, basically, or that like I would but I'd find my way. But now I'm like, and again, like I didn't expect it because I was so open to so many things for so long, and so long as if it were like a long. It was only a few years, but still, you it's been 4 years. 4 years. 4 years. Wow, it has been 4 years. It feels like so much longer. Um, But yeah, now I'm like, oh, I don't like, because I thought, and I'm like, and I was actually talking to, so I talked to Rob when I started the CC11 spiral, and I was like, oof. It's because I was like, there have been people in my life and on my journey that aren't in my life in the same ways that they were in my life at the time. And some of them I met before I started my journey. Some of them I met when I was a miserable, depressed mess, and I wasn't doing much to, like, I wasn't yet at the point of wanting to do anything or change anything. And so it was fine that it was like stagnant. But when I had my darkest night, and I was like, okay, so now I have to do something because now it's like my brain was basically like, okay, it's real. can laugh and joke and like if you say you want this, you really want this. And when my brain was doing whatever my brain was doing, I was like, honestly, I don't even care. But after a few days, when I started to come back to myself, I was like, oh, if I end up there again, that'll be it. So I was like, yeah, no. Let's try doing things before I end up in that place again. How about we try to do the things that I can do for me right now to make this a little easier? How about I try like looking at handling, facing, addressing all of the things that I've been too busy for? Because my excuse was always like in the summer, I'm working and I'm too busy with work and being lazy, recuperating from the school year. And in the school year, I'm too busy with classes. Like, I never have time to focus on me and what's going on with my mental. And I mean, again, it was like, it was partially a lack of time. It was partially if I don't want to dwell on it, I don't want to think about it. And it was also partially like, if I start to do things, then it'll be real. And as long as I can pretend like it's not happening, then it's not real, even though, again, it's very real. And so, yeah, it was like when I started to, there were certain dynamics that didn't work anymore. Um, and so I was like, I got to do what I can't stop and I can't for sure go back. And since then, there have been some similar ish where it's just like, I don't know. Like, I love where I'm at now. That does not mean that I'm not moving forward because like it's definitely been a journey. I'm not gonna like stop here or stay here or stagnate here, obviously. But I do honestly, I like where I'm at. I love where I'm at. But for so long, it was like there was just so much that needed to change, and I was able to like have compassion with myself and not judge myself or guilt trip or shame myself or whatever. But it's like, what does Patrick want for Patrick? Because this ain't it. Um, oof. I feel like I'm doing a decent job of maintaining a train of thought, but it's coming and going. It's in and it's out. Um, I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, and as I've made it to this place, and as I've gotten out of a lot of the quagmires and marshes and the tundras and the deserts and the different places of extreme, I would think back on like people that used to be in my life, and like I'm the type of person like I still care about, like if I've ever cared about you, then chances are I still care about you. But at the same time, I don't know if there are too many people that I care about enough to just like let myself be treated any kind of way, or to go back, or to again like when I was where I was to stay where I was. Because it was like, if Patrick doesn't do this for Patrick, then Patrick's not gonna be here because Patrick's gonna. Uh, and again, like now that I am where I am, sometimes I have like I kind of I wish the same for like all of the people that I care about. And there's a few things that like I wish I would have like handled better, or maybe like I wish I would have gone about it in a different way, whatever. And as I've had the thought to like reach out to some people again, I'm like, as much as I would like love to like check in and like just express that, like I do still care and I hope everything's going well. I also don't have the capacity or the desire to put myself in a dynamic that I've already gotten out of, because I still don't have space for it. Like, and that's when like me prioritizing, or not prioritizing my peace, but like sort of recognizing where I am now compared to where I have been. And it's like if it was not in alignment before, it definitely won't be now. You know, unless things have changed, in which case I would love to. But I was like, the risk is great. I don't know if I want to open that can of worms again. You know what I mean? And so I was telling Rob, and so like right before I went live, he was like, "Oh, it sounds like you have like survivor's guilt," and I was like, "Ooh." And I told my mom, she was like, "What did you survive?" I'm like, "Life, mother. I survived life." But when I broke it down to her, because I was like, some of these people, like, we were in it together until I literally could not be there anymore. I couldn't, and so I didn't. And now that I am where I am now that I have, it's like I have more of a capacity because I've worked through so many other things that I've worked through within myself. But like again, like I'm not willing to put myself in an unhealthy dynamic or in one that isn't like we all have our good days and our bad days and our on days and our off days, but it's just like I can't I'm like no, especially if it isn't something that's gonna be like anyway. So then from like I guess from like friends and different people that have been in my life, then it went to like so it went from like people that I used to know. Then I'm like, I don't know if I want like I can't I won't. Like it's like it's a piece that is so, especially now that I'm working the hours it's like work life outside of the home is chaotic enough. I am not inviting that into these four walls. But then so it went from like people in the past to people in the future and like welcoming people into my space or into my home, and that's it's like oh, I don't know. I don't know. It's just I'm just so like so nervous and so hesitant. Some folk and I'm like, ooh, you know what I mean? This is my sanctuary. This is my haven, my safe place. So anyway, the Two of Pentacles with that Six of uh, Cups. Um, yeah, for sure. And also too, like I'm not in that same place or space of exploration or of seeking. Like when I was just like open, I'm not just open anymore. There's and I'm not super set on a path or direction, but for things that are in alignment, for things that are vibrationally aligned to where I am and to where I'm going, I'll pivot and I'll do whatever. But for anything that's gonna come in and like there's a difference between like a shakeup like that goes into whatever and a shakeup where things just fall apart. And I'm done with it. Done with it. Um, but yeah, lately it's been that like Six of Cups, Two of Pentacles in terms of like where I am versus where I used to be, in a very like self congratulatory way, but also in a way that it accounts for the people in my life now and the situations and like everything. So wouldn't have made it here by myself, of course. I guess it's real reason, season of a life, reason, season, or a lifetime. All right, let's get this card. What's next? Ooh, two cards. And they're both upright. What? We have the Queen of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. Queen of Pentacles, Seven of Swords. Oh, she's the one with her trap door. Oh no! This is the Seven of Swords. This is almost literally the Seven of Swords in the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. I was looking for the SKT, but it wasn't the first deck I saw, and I didn't feel like looking, so I was just like, I'm gonna grab the Tarot of the Abyss. Because it's almost like he's like, oh, I see where she's buried her treasure. When she walks away, I'm gonna get in there and use this sword to jimmy the lock or whatever. This makes me think of the Seven of Swords in the Witch's Tarot. It's the Seven of Swords with the Daughter of Pentacles. Is the daughter all grown up now? What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Trying to like look at this card. I see like, what is that? A pistol? What is that? Is it a finger? Is he pointing the finger? Is that a gun? Seven of Swords with the Queen of Pentacles. Well, the Queen of Pentacles was on top. Maybe that's it. Maybe like I said, it's like this could be that like the stuff I'm just not in a position. Well, it came out this way first of all, where he was watching the Queen. Well, I'm not in a position to let certain things just like come in and take away from what I've built and established for me. And that goes beyond like the physical space is a external representation of the internal space, and it was a whole lot of stuff that Patrick ain't doing no more. Um, and it was all important, and it was for the learning and the whatever that was happening at the time. But it's about moving forward. Let's clarify those two. We'll clarify it with this card. Oh, two more cards. Great. Both upright. We have the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah. This is the energy that can get access. Knight of Pentacles, Ten of Pentacles. Whatever that Seven of Swords was about, it's like, yeah, no, it's not. And it feels like it's just wherever this queen is putting this pinnacle, it's like it's inaccessible. She like that key. I don't know. The Knight of Pentacles has a key, doesn't he? Around his neck. Yep, he does. So this night, like when I said the Nine of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles is what I'm like open to. This makes me think of the Lovers in the Threads of Fate Weaver Tarot. It's like, he has his own key. This Knight of Pentacles has his own key with that Ten of Pentacles. Oh, maybe that's the Knight and the Queen. That's their hands. He has his own key. She has her own key. The Seven of Swords got lock picking tools and all kinds of stuff, and it's like, yeah, no, like that. If you got a key, yeah, my mom has a key. She can come and go whenever she wants. I don't don't know. It's just that's where I've been this past week. And I guess I don't know. Again, because my Chiron is in Leo and my Saturn is in Aquarius, and I've just had my Saturn return, my first Saturn return. And because I've navigated my life in the way I've navigated it, I am where I am, and I'm not willing to like whatever that. It's like I don't because at the end of the day, we all have choices and decisions to make, and we all make our own choices and decisions, and we're not. No one is perfect, but I don't know. So what's next for Patrick? Five of Swords in reverse. The Five of Swords. The Five of Swords has been coming out a lot. I actually, the new reader at the card shop. I went to the psychic fair Saturday before I went into work because I like to get read by all the readers at the card shop. The Five of Swords was at the heart of my Celtic cross, and I felt like that's why I was like, because it doesn't feel harsh, a little bit. Because like I said, it's like there is a lot of legitimate care and concern, but I don't. It's like it's an acknowledgement of what I have the capacity for and what I don't have the capacity for, and I wouldn't want to have like basically I wouldn't want to have any repeat situations where things work out in the same way. You know what I mean? Because then it was like, well, what was the point? Um, but yeah, maybe it's just like it doesn't make me mean or cruel or whatever to want to protect my peace and to want to have people in my life that won't, especially purposefully, try to like create any kind of whatever because of what it's just like. But it's in reverse, so oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go potty. I gotta go potty. What's interesting about this Five of Swords, though, is that it has an image that's much like the Six. Oh, it's the butterfly in the bottle. Yeah, no, we ain't doing that no more. Yeah, we ain't doing that no more. You see upright, it's the butterfly in the bottle. He's like, it's like he's about to take off the lid. He's like, oh, you want your freedom, do you, butterfly? You think you've changed? Yeah, we out of here. Sorry. Yeah, no. Clarifying the Five of Swords in reverse is the Five of Pentacles upright. What is this? I remember one time there was that's because my mama, my mother, my family knows who Patrick is. They know who Patrick has been since Patrick has come into this world where it's like no Taurus moon. We'll call it Taurus moon apparently because I don't know what or it's just Patrick. It's like yeah no like you're I'm incredibly can be incredibly kind, caring, compassionate, but at the same time my I might extend or overextend some sympathy or overextend compassion at some points or in some ways, but at a certain point, it's like if it's going to be like a tactic that's used to try to keep me, number one, in a situation I don't want to be in, or number two, it's like, yeah, no. It's like I can be open hearted and soft and mushy, but what you're not going to do is try to use that to get me to so in that case, yeah, Patrick is real Five of Swords. And in that case, yeah, Patrick is real Five of Pentacles. Patrick would rather be Five of Pentacles outside in the code on his own than be in the house with some Five of Swords. It's like that's a no brainer. Like, yeah, no, we're not. It's fine. It's not that cold. It's not so cold out here that I'd be in there. Ah, no, no. And so one day, like somebody was like, "Wow, like you are a little cold," and I was like, "Yeah, for gosh darn sure I am," because what I'm not about to do is be manipulated. It's like, yeah, no. Or it's like you're not. I'm not. Especially where I was, it's like I literally cannot afford to stop because if Patrick stops here, who knows what tomorrow will bring? And if tomorrow brings the wrong thing, Patrick might not be here the day after. And while Patrick loves you, and while Patrick cares about you, Patrick is not willing to have that day after tomorrow be his today. Um, and to conclude that, wow, this card, two cards again. Six of Wands, Six of Pentacles. This is how you win with Patrick. Do your own work. I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, like, do your own work, champion your own things, and we can thrive together. Or it's like, again, like, nobody is perfect. We all have our own things. But when it gets to the point where we can't self regulate well enough to not create not great situations for others, it's like if we can't self-regulate to the point where it becomes destructive to somebody else, Patrick isn't interested. Like Patrick knows that we're not perfect. Patrick knows that there are going to be times and days and moments and whatever. But again, at the same time, it's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Oh, the air just kicked on. I gotta go potty, but boom. Step out here for a hot second because I've talked about it enough. Here we are. Again, it's like it's so, and then there's the inside. I haven't even been out here to like look at all this up here. There's two hangers. I might get a bird feeder because the birds like to hang out. All right, I'm going back in. That's it for today. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality because you are the one that has the power to do that. Apparently, especially now that the North Node is in Aries, and hopefully you have navigated your own path, journey, and way that empowers you to make whatever choices and decisions that you have to make, or that enables you to see options where you otherwise may not see them. And until next time, thank you, Holly, for being here. I will catch you all later. Bye.